Hi, this is Tutor Ali, and today's chapter we are going to cover is going to be Introduction to Business Analysis, Project Management, and Framework. Let's see the learning goals that we are going to cover in this chapter. Is what is a project? Then what is a project? Portfolio and program management, and what is the difference between all these? Then relationship among portfolio management, program management, project management, organizational project management, operations management, and organizational strategies. Then we are going to see business value, the roles, responsibilities, competencies, and interpersonal skills of the business analyst, project stakeholders and team members, project lifecycle, and project management processes. So first, take a look into the first learning goal that we have over here is what is a project? According to the PMBOK guide, we need to know a project is a temporary endeavor with a defined beginning and an end. It is undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. The end is reached when project objectives have been achieved or the project is terminated or the need for the project no longer exists. Projects can have a social, economical, and environmental impact. Now let's take a look at some of the reasons why the projects are authorized. They are authorized if there is a market demand, strategic opportunity or business need, social need, environmental need, or a customer's request for technological advancement, or a legal requirement. What can projects create? It can create a product that can be a component of another item, an enhancement, or an item in itself. It can create a service or capability to perform a service, an improvement in the existing product or service lines, a result such as an outcome or a document. For example, building a bridge is a project. Building a house is a project. Building softwares, building a movie. These are all examples of different projects. Now, let's see the relationship among portfolios, programs, and projects, and let's see what's the difference between all three of them. Now that we already know what projects are, and we've seen some examples of projects over here, individual projects that are either within or outside of a program, they are still considered part of the portfolio. So projects is part of the portfolio. So basically portfolio sits all the way on the top, as you can see over here. The portfolios includes projects, programs, projects. Now the programs by itself would include some projects. So let's see what portfolios are. Portfolio is a collection of projects, programs, sub-portfolios, and operations which are managed as a group to achieve the strategic objectives of the organization. For example, an organization might have a portfolio where it includes projects as well as programs, and A program, for example, would be for the city of Sacramento. The city has a program for water, for electricity, for gas. Okay, and in that water program, you have 3 different projects as to where are we going to get the water from, how are we going to clean the water, and how are we going to distribute the water. Okay, so let's see the programs. Programs are grouped within portfolios, comprise subprograms, projects, or other work which is managed in a coordinated way to support the portfolio. So as I just gave you the program example, like for the city of Sacramento, you have 3 different programs for water, for gas, for electricity. And the water will have few projects, the gas will have a few projects, and the electricity would have a few projects. Now, all these programs and projects comprise of the portfolio for the city of Sacramento. Although projects or programs within the portfolio may not necessarily be interdependent or directly related, they are all linked to the organization's strategic plan by means of the organization's portfolio. Organizational planning impacts the project by means of project prioritization based on risk, funding, and other considerations relevant to organization's strategic plan. Now let's see what is project, portfolio, and program management. So the organizational project management, as we saw before, comprises of portfolios, programs, and projects. Portfolios, when it comes to scope, they have an organizational scope that changes with the strategic objectives of the organizations. Programs, on the other hand, they have a larger scope and provide more significant benefits. Projects have defined objectives, and the scope is progressively elaborated throughout the life cycle. Now, who's managing the change for portfolios? So any change that comes to the portfolios are managed by portfolio managers who continuously monitor changes in the internal and the external environment of the organization. Programs are managed by program managers, and change can be expected from both inside and outside of the program. The projects are managed by project managers, and the BAs expect change and implement processes to keep change managed and controlled. So that's the job of BAs, the business analysts, to expect change and implement processes to keep change managed and controlled. During this time, they'll be working a lot with the project managers. When it comes to planning, portfolio managers create and maintain necessary processes and communication related to the aggregate portfolio. When it comes to planning, program managers develop the program and create high-level plans to guide detailed planning at the component level. When it comes to project, the project managers and BAs, they progressively elaborate high-level information into detailed plans throughout the project life cycle. In management, portfolio managers may manage and coordinate portfolio management staff or project management staff that may have reporting responsibilities. Program managers manage the program staff, and project managers, they provide vision to overall leadership. And project managers manage the project team, including the BAs, the QAs, the developers, to meet the project objectives. So the portfolio managers, they sit all the way on the top, and then there is the program managers that will provide leadership and vision and help the project managers manage the projects. And in turn over here, the project managers will manage the project team. So the project team will report to the project managers might report to the program managers, and the program managers will report to the portfolio managers. Now, how is the success measured in terms of portfolio? Success is measured in terms of benefit realization of the portfolio. When it comes to the programs, it is measured by the degree the program satisfies the need and benefits for undertaking the project. When it comes to the projects, what is success? How is it measured? It is measured by customer satisfaction, quality, timeliness, and budget compliance. Now, the success is measured mainly all these projects, programs are working towards the benefit realization of the portfolio. So that is really important to understand. If you're working on projects, everything is working towards the organizational goal, which is the benefit realization of the portfolio. Now, when it comes to monitoring and controlling, strategic changes, resource allocation, performance result, and portfolio risk are monitored and controlled by the portfolio managers. In programs, progress of program components to ensure overall goals, schedules, budget, and benefits of program are met. And in projects, monitor the work of producing products, services, or results that the project was undertaken for. So this is what the project manager is going to do in projects. He or she is going to monitor the work of producing the products, services, or result, and make sure that everything is getting done on time, everything is getting done on the cost, and the quality that was required for the project. So that was the difference between project, portfolio, and program management, and who is responsible for these things in the organization. Now, the next one we are going to see is project management, business analysis, and its relationships. So first we have to understand what is project management. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. It is achieved through appropriate application and integration of 47 logically grouped management processes that are categorized into 5 process groups. Now, these are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Now, all these 47 processes and these 5 process groups have been covered in the PMP exam, and that is where I go in detailed with all these 47 processes that are used for project management. Managing a project typically includes identifying the requirements. Now, this is where the business analyst plays a very important role, where the requirements are identified, where all the requirements are identified, addressing the needs, concerns, and expectations of the stakeholders. Setting up, maintaining, managing, and carrying out communications among the stakeholders. So communication is an important key over here when it comes to managing the stakeholders and addressing their concerns and expectations. Balancing the project constraints like scope, quality, budget, schedule, resources, and risk. Now, balancing the constraints is done by the project manager, but when it comes to scope, you will be working with the project manager to make sure that everything that the customer expected has been provided. Relationship among project constraints is such that if any one factor changes, at least the one other factor is likely to be affected. Now, these are the project constraints. If for some reason the scope has increased, then at least one other factor is going to be affected. If the scope is increased, then obviously it's going to take a longer time for the project to be completed, is going to take more money for the project to be completed, as well as more resources. So when scope is increased, then quality might get affected. If scope is increased and schedule is not changed, then either the quality would get affected or the budget would get affected, because we might have to hire more resources. Now, this might lead to adding more risks to the project. Example, if the schedule is shortened, we need to increase the budget as we need to add additional resources to finish the work. If budget increase is not possible, then the scope or quality may be reduced to deliver the project in a shortened schedule. Now let's see what is business analysis. Business analysis is a set of tasks and techniques used to work among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of an organization, and to recommend solutions that enable the organization to achieve its goals. Business analysis involves understanding how organizations function to accomplish their purposes. Define the capabilities an organizations require to provide products and services to external stakeholders. It includes the definition of organizational goals and courses of action that an organization has to undertake to achieve these goals and objectives. And as a business analyst, this is your duty to make sure that you are providing this to the organization. You make sure that you understand how the organizations function, and you are working towards the benefit of the organization. You make sure that you understand the structure, policies, and operations of the organization, and using a set of tasks and techniques are able to recommend solutions to the organization. The relationship between project management, operations management, and organizational strategy. So now what you are seeing over here is everything in a project is working towards the organizational strategy. It's working towards the organization goal. So you as a project manager are doing the same while working on the projects. Operations and project management. So we have to see what's the difference between operations, and we have to see what and where do operations and projects intersect. Operation management is an area of management concerned with ongoing production of goods or services. So what is important to see over here is the ongoing part. A project has a start and an end, while an operation doesn't have an end. It is an ongoing production of goods or services. They are ongoing endeavors that produce repetitive outputs with resources assigned to do basically the same set of tasks. Now, projects can intersect with operations at various points during the life cycle, such as the closeout phase, when developing a new product, upgrading a product, improving operations until the end of product life cycle. The examples are production operations, manufacturing operations, accounting operations, software support, and maintenance. Like a simple example is when you were working on a project to design a software. When the software was complete, it was handed over to operations where they were working on the software and support and maintenance to the customer. Organizations and project management. Organizations use governance to establish strategic direction and performance parameters. This direction provides the purpose, expectations, goals, and actions necessary to guide businesses and is aligned with its objective. Project management activities should be aligned with top-level business direction, and if there is change, then project objectives need to be realigned. Changes to the project objectives affect project efficiency and success. If business alignment of the project is constant, the success of the project greatly increases. Now, the next topic we have is role of business analyst and business value. Now, who's a business analyst? What does the business analyst do? And what are the responsibilities of this business analyst? A business analyst is someone who analyzes an organization and designs its processes and systems, assessing the business model and its integration with technology. Now, this is according to IIBA. It describes the role as a liaison among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of the organizations and to recommend solutions that enable the organization to achieve its goals. So it's important to understand what the business analyst's role is over here. One important thing to know is the business analyst is a liaison among stakeholders in order to understand structure, policies, and operations of an organization. The second thing we need to know is the business analyst will recommend solutions to the organization by applying the tasks and tools and techniques to enable the organization to achieve its goals. Let's take a look at the responsibilities and competencies of the business analyst. The business analyst must analyze and synthesize information provided by a large number of people who interact with business, such as customers, staff, IT professionals, and executives. So you are taking all these requirements, you are analyzing the requirements, you're breaking down the requirements, making it easier for the business team to understand these requirements. You're going to explain it to the IT professionals and executives, all the needs and demands of the customer, and document it. They are responsible for eliciting the actual needs of the stakeholders. Business analyst competencies includes skills, knowledge, and personal characteristics that support the effective performance of business analysis. Eliciting requirements, creating the business requirement document, thinking analytically, solving problems, planning, traceability and monitoring, evaluating, testing, providing user support, and IT fluency. So these are some of the main responsibilities and competencies of the business analyst. So you are mostly working with scope, you are eliciting these requirements, you are making the business requirement document called as the BRD. You are expected to think analytically and solve the problems, if any. You're going to work with planning, traceability, and monitoring, and provide user support, testing, and fluency. Now let's see some of the interpersonal skills of the business analyst. They accomplish work to project team and other stakeholders. They require a balance of ethical, interpersonal, and conceptual skills to analyze situation and interact appropriately. Some of the interpersonal skills are communication, decision-making, political and cultural awareness, negotiating with the customers and stakeholders, building trust with the stakeholders, interaction with the team and the stakeholders, manage conflict between the stakeholders, help coaching the team. So these are some of the interpersonal skills that a business analyst needs to have. Now, who's the functional manager? And what is the duty of the functional manager? The functional manager is focused on providing management oversight for a functional or a business unit. We saw what our operations, now let's see what the operations manager does. The operation manager are responsible for ensuring the business operations are efficient. Then we have the project coordinator. Now the project coordinator is similar to the project expediter. The coordinator has some power to make decisions, some authority, and reports to the higher level manager. So project coordinator will work with the project manager. What is business value? It is a concept that is unique to each organization. It is defined as the entire value of business, which include some of tangible and intangible elements. Tangible elements examples are monetary assets, fixtures, stakeholder equity, and utility. And intangible elements are goodwill, brand recognition, public benefits, and trademarks. Let's go to the next slide. Project stakeholders. Now these are the people you will be working with throughout the project. Influence of organizational structures on projects. Now, who are stakeholders? These are all those groups, individuals, and units or organizations. They can be internal or external to the organization. One thing important to remember are the stakeholders are the ones who are impacted by or can impact the outcome of the project. Stakeholders include all primary members of the team as well as interested entities that are internal or external to the organizations. There are two different types of stakeholders. One is primary stakeholders and the second one is secondary stakeholders. Primary stakeholders are usually internal stakeholders that engage in economic transaction with business. For example, stockholders, customers, suppliers, creditors, and employees. Secondary stakeholders are usually external stakeholders who, although do not engage in direct economic exchange with the business, but are affected by or can affect its actions. For example, general public, those who are using the software. For example, communities, activist groups, business support groups, and the media. Now, in this figure, you'll see some of the stakeholders. There are sellers, business partners, customers or users, end users, functional managers, operation management, other stakeholders, portfolio manager, project management office, program manager, project sponsor, project team, project management team, project manager, other project team members like business analyst, like QA testers, like developers. So these are all stakeholders working towards the project. And all these stakeholders can impact or are impacted by the outcomes of the project. Let's see who is the project manager, project sponsor, project owner, and the project team. The project manager is the person assigned by the organization to lead the team that is responsible for achieving the project objectives. The project manager also works closely with the business analyst, quality assurance manager, and subject matter experts. So you as a business analyst is going to work very closely with the project manager, especially when it comes to scope management, requirement management. Then we have the project sponsor. Project sponsor is a manager with demonstrable interest in the outcome of the project, who is responsible for securing spending authority and resources for the project. Project sponsor will participate in or lead project initiation as well as development of the project charter. Then we have the project owner, who is typically the one who accepts accountability for the performance of the project. Project owner is someone who has the most experience in the project and is able to help and guide the project manager throughout the project. Project owners ensure that project objectives remain aligned and with corporate and business needs. They provide resources, supervises the processes, procedures, budgeting, and monitoring. Then the project team, this includes the project manager and the group of individuals who work together to achieve the project objectives. Now, these team members include project management staff, project staff, business analyst, QAs, developers, supporting experts, users, customer representatives, sellers, business partners. They are dedicated and part-time teams, either full-time as well as part-time. On large projects, some project team members may serve as team leads like QA lead, BA lead, development lead, providing tasks and technical leadership, and sometimes maintaining a portion of the project plan. Now, the last slide that we have is project lifecycle, process groups, and knowledge areas. The project lifecycle refers to a series of activities which are necessary to fulfill project goals or objectives. Projects vary in size and complexity, but no matter how large or small, all projects must be mapped to the following life cycle structure. Like if you look over here, these are different software development life cycles that are used for projects depending on what type of projects they have. It's Waterfall, Agile, Lean, and there are some more software development life cycles, but these are the ones that are primarily used in most of the organization. let's see what project management process groups are. It is a traditional phased approach that identifies a sequence of steps to be completed. In the traditional approach, 5 development components of a project can be distinguished. Typical development phases of an engineering project is initiation and inception, planning and design, execution and construction, monitoring and controlling, completion and closing the project. Now, one thing we have to remember is not all projects will have every stage, as projects can be terminated before they reach completion. Some projects do not follow a structured planning and or monitoring process, and some projects will just go through 2, 3, and 4 steps multiple times. Now let's see the waterfall methodology. What happens in waterfall methodology is it is a sequential design process often used in software development, in which progress is seen as flowing steadily down like a waterfall through phases of planning, building, testing, review, and deployment. So in waterfall methodology, you cannot build it till the planning is done. You cannot test anything till it's built. You cannot review it till the test is done. And then you cannot deploy it till the review is complete. So as the name says, is waterfall. You cannot jump to the other process unless the previous one is complete. On the other hand, we have Agile methodology, which is used a lot in software development. And Agile methodology is all about change, working with projects where there is going to be a lot of change, where the requirements are not set and where there is progressive elaboration required during the project. So in Agile methodology, what you are working with is small sprints, which will last 1 to 4 weeks, where you will work on a few user stories and you will go through all the phases till you are complete. So you will start with planning, then build the software, then test it, and then review it. Then you will jump to the next user story, plan, build, test, review. Finally, when you've covered all the user stories for that particular sprint, you are going to have a main review, and then you are going to deploy it. Then once that gets done, then you will go to the next sprint where you will get to the next set of user stories and go through the same process till review and deployment is done. Now what happens in Agile is if there is any change that happens during that time, Agile methodology is very flexible. If there is any change, then you are not losing a lot of time. For example, if you are in waterfall methodology and you are in testing and you found out there is a huge change, then all the time spent before that is pretty much wasted, and it's really tough to implement change when you are working in the waterfall methodology. One of the main differences between Agile and waterfall is that testing of the software is conducted at different stages during the software development lifecycle. In Waterfall model, there is always a separate testing phase near the completion of the implementation phase. However, in Agile, testing is usually done concurrently with coding, or at least testing job starts in early iterations. So this helps if there is any change that happens in the requirement or in the project, then the change can be implemented quickly, and it's not the same in waterfall methodology. Then we have another methodology that's called as lean methodology. I would be covering all these three different methodologies more in detail when we get to the software development methodologies, knowledge and skills. But let's take a look at lean. Now, what happens in lean is lean software development works on eliminating waste. It amplifies learning. It empowers the team, builds integrity, and sees the project as a whole. So if you see over here, the difference between Agile and Lean is you start with planning, then you build the software, then you test, then you review, and then you deploy. So unless you deploy, you're not going to the next story. So then you go to the next one, plan, build, test, review, deploy. Lean is a production practice that considers the expenditure of resources for any goal other than creation of the value for the end customer to be wasteful, and thus it is a target for elimination. Now, what we need to see next is project management knowledge areas. In the PMBOK guide, we have the whole project management framework is divided in 10 different knowledge areas. First being the integration management. Then we have project scope management, time management, cost management, quality management, human resource management, communication management, risk management, procurement management, and stakeholder management. Now, all this management is done by the project manager. The business analyst is mainly required in the integration management knowledge area. Obviously, it's required in the scope management knowledge area, where the business analyst is working with all the requirements and managing the scope with the project manager. Then the quality management. The business analyst is required to work with the communications management, where they are communicating with the stakeholders. The business analyst is even required to work in the stakeholder management knowledge area, where they manage stakeholders and solve any conflicts that come off of from there. So this completes Chapter 1, which is Business Analysis, Project Management, and Framework. The next chapter that we are going to cover is Business Analysis, Domains, Tasks, Knowledge and Skills. So we have 5 domains which we are going to cover, and once we cover the domains, we'll jump to all the 40 knowledge and skills required by the business analyst. So until next time, see you again soon. Thank you.